Welcome back to the Hutcheson House, or welcome to the Hutcheson House for the first time. I'm your host, Leah Marlene. That's a true story. I have my voice back. I was sick. I know you care. Let's get into it. President Trump never ceases to amaze. Am I right? Am I right? Over the weekend, as you might know, he did an interview with NBC, and he never fails to shock the reporters with stellar advice. Watch.
Small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariffs, and some could be forced to shut down.
And many businesses are being helped.
Are you considering tariff relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune because of the tariffs. Do you know that the union, the head of the union, who was no fan of mine, Sean Fain, I guess his name is, right? He didn't endorse me. The Teamsters did. A lot of people did. A lot of unions did. But he didn't. He couldn't stand me. Now he's saying, wow, what's Trump's done for the automobile? I can't believe it. I assume he's going to probably now say the next thing he can say is, I endorse this guy. He's the greatest I've ever seen. He can't believe it's happened. He said, we've been waiting 40 years for somebody to do what Trump is doing. Why don't you mention the big car industry instead of mentioning somebody that's doing strollers?
Well, I'm just asking you about small businesses. Are there any discussions about giving any relief to small businesses?
They're not going to need it. They're going to make so much money.
Are these tariffs?
If you build your product here. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here. It's very easy. It's very simple.
Are these tariffs?
The thing I love about President Trump, well, one of the things, right, is that he is very smart when it comes to emotional intelligence. And he asks her, why didn't you ask about the car companies? Look, I'm a small business. I have an acting studio and theater. And she's not talking about me. My question to her is, why doesn't she say some small businesses? But no, the way the left likes to frame things is that it's all or nothing. Small businesses. You can't say that. Well, she did, but you can't speak for all of us, because since President Trump has been in office, my business is doing exponentially better as a small business. The last 4 years, I was almost destitute. It has been horrendous under the Biden administration. The previous 4 years, my business exploded. I was doing wonderful. I was serving. I was helping. My students were doing great. Even the people who hated President Trump were doing wonderfully. But she doesn't mention any of that. She mentions the ones that are complaining. Now, I know it's news to go for the controversy, but why doesn't she frame things in a positive way? You may get a more positive feedback loop when you frame things positively, but the left media doesn't ever do that. They frame everything in a very negative slant. Not only is he giving her advice here through that question, he's actually coaching her to be a better reporter. The other thing that the legacy media loves to do is talk in extremes. They want to catch Mr. President Trump in a gotcha. They want him to say absolutes. And he says in this interview, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is absolute. And of course, they take that and spin that to be something negative, because that's, quite frankly, the mainstream media's job at this point is just to be anti-Trump, which is absolutely ridiculous, but it also lacks complete credibility.
Endorse this guy. He's the greatest I've ever seen. He can't believe it's happened. He said, we've been waiting 40 years for somebody to do what Trump is doing. Why don't you mention the big car industry instead of mentioning somebody that's doing strollers?
Well, I'm just asking you about small businesses. Are there any discussions about giving any relief to small businesses?
They're not going to need it. They're going to make so much money.
Are these tariffs?
If you build your product here. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here. It's very easy.
That's exactly right. Now, I know some people go, well, there's certain things that you can't make here. For instance, my daughter loves acai berry. That's from Brazil. There's a man going up on a tree far 20 feet up to get these berries to bring them down and then go on a drive and come all the way to the United States. So the acai berry is going to be more expensive because we don't grow acai berry in the United States. And if we do, let me know in the comments, but I don't believe that we do. Now, certain things like that will be more expensive, but in the long run, America will be better off because of this. So I was speaking to somebody who seems like he doesn't like Mr. President Trump, and that's okay. If we have respectable, courteous, calm discourse, I really appreciate that. And he said it was hard on his business. He is a buyer for an American furniture company, and he said that he gets all of his furniture out of the country, and so he never knows how to price the furniture. And I could understand that debate. I can understand that. But again, make it in America if it's an American furniture company. I thought that was kind of funny. The irony.
It's very simple.
Are these tariffs permanent, Mr. President?
Depends on what you're talking about. One of the things that is going to bring and has brought, so I think we probably have close to $9 trillion of investments coming into this country. If you look at other presidents, there's never been anything like that. This is over a period of 2 months. You got to give me a little break on the 1 month because we're 3 months. But, let's say we had to get started. We had a lot of fake news at the beginning, so we had to beat that down. But so let's say in 2 months. So in just a short period of time, a matter of a couple of months, we have the largest number ever in history invested in the United States and committed. We have between guaranteed spoken for and people that are going to make a decision and announce it pretty soon, close to $9 trillion. We've never had anything close. Now, that's Apple building $500 billion worth of plants. They always built their plants in China. Now they're building their plants over here. That's the biggest computer company, the biggest chip company in the world. The chip company from Taiwan, which is the biggest in the world, is committed for $500 billion. Another one's committed for $300 billion. We have companies, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And let me tell you the other thing, very importantly, automobile companies, plant after plant after plant, Toyota, Honda, Ford, General Motors, Stellantis. I mean, nobody's ever seen anything like it.
And that's why the mainstream media that is biased on the left really lacks credibility. Because if they would, sometimes say these positive things about Mr. President Trump, then they would really gain a lot of respect from majority of Americans who voted for Trump. But because their aim is just to knock down every single positive thing, no matter what, if it means even not standing up for a young Black child who has overcome cancer, they will do that. They will not stand up. They will do whatever it takes to show zero support. And that's why they lack total credibility, in my opinion.
And I don't like this, but it happens to be. They're stopping work in Mexico and they're stopping work in Canada and they're all moving here.
This is important, though. You're not taking the possibility that these tariffs could be permanent off the table. Some of them.
Oh, I wouldn't do that because if somebody thought they were going to come off the table, why would they build in the United States?
Let me ask you
You
about,
understand that, right?
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking, because there's a lot of, I think, uncertainty for CEOs, for business owners. They want to know, are these tariffs permanent?
I think there's only uncertainty in the fake news. I don't think there's uncertainty. I mean, I've been very rigid, very strong on it, but I will say I'm flexible. Like with respect to parts made outside of the country, I gave the automobile companies a little extra time. You're talking about 15% and then 10% of the parts put in a car. I gave them a little extra time without penalizing them. And I did that only to help, companies. We're looking to help companies. We want them to thrive and to hire a lot of people. And that's what's happened.
And never mind the fact that so many more jobs are coming into the United States. That's the whole point. The whole point is to get this economy stimulated. See, I think the problem on the left is a lot of them don't understand business. They just don't. And you have to make deals. You have to negotiate. You have to look at what is working and what isn't. And sometimes you have to make some painful choices in order to move forward. That's like any business. I've been in business for 12 years. I've had to make a lot of painful choices in order to grow, in order for the good of all the people that I'm working with. That's just common sense. And that's exactly what Mr. Trump is doing. Please let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. There's a couple of really funny moments coming up, so stay tuned.
It has said some people on Wall Street have expressed concerns that the possibility of a recession is increasing. And I want to know what you think about that. Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession?
Okay, here, he's going to coach her again, because see how she's speaking on the negative. Some people are really worried. Some people are worried about everything all the time. Some people really never take risks. Some people never take leadership roles because they don't know how to take risks. Some people roll over and let the United States just get steamrolled like the Biden administration did. But we're not some people. We're extraordinary people. The people who voted for President Trump want to be the exception, want to bring exceptional productivity back to the United States. Some people really love President Trump. My daughter catches me on this all the time because I have a tendency sometimes, I'm human, right, to say the same thing. We'll be in the car and I'm like, people are such bad drivers. And she's like, no, mommy, some people are bad drivers. Some people are excellent drivers. Why don't you focus on all the people who are excellent drivers? And I said, you know what? You're right. And that's my tendency to go towards the negative. So I'm working on that myself. Many people, the vast majority of people are excellent drivers. There are some people that aren't very good, but why focus on that, right? Why focus on the negativity? It's a waste of time.
For a period of time, if you are able to achieve your long-term goals.
Well, you say some people on Wall Street say, well, I tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history. Why don't you talk about them? Because some people on Wall Street say this is
that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, though. It's the same question.
Yeah, there are many people on Wall Street say this is going to be the greatest windfall ever happened.
And that's my question.
Remember
the long term.
Yeah.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
Look, everything's okay. What we are.
Okay, I have to stop here. I'm sorry. I know I'm stopping a lot, but this is a reaction video after all. Some people in the comments are like, would you not? Look, the whole interview is on Meet the Press if you'd like to watch it, and I encourage you to do so. But this is a reaction channel. So if you're one of those people who don't like reactions, don't watch a reaction channel. That's, again, common sense. But some people like to just point out the negative, right? And that's exactly what the whole mainstream media is about. So now they're going to spin this. I already know what The View is going to say. I already know they're going to say, he doesn't care that we go into a recession. He says, don't feed the beast. He's calling us all beasts. And that's not at all what he said. Mr. President Trump assumes the best of people. And that's actually really inspiring. He actually assumes and expects the best in people, in the entire world, really, is what he wants. But in the United States of America, his aim is to expect and really demand the best of people. And that's like any good leader, right? We shouldn't go, oh, it's because you've had this horrible thing, and so you're destined to a terrible life. No, that kind of messaging is crazy making, and it's actually debilitating, right? So with this question, do you care that we're going to dip into a recession? They're going to chop it up because he says, it's fine, it's fine. That's not what he's saying. He's saying everything's fine. My mom, growing up on a farm, always had a wonderful expression, says, don't worry about the mule going blind, keep loading the wagon. And if you don't know that expression, it just means, yes, the donkey, whatever you're using, right? Your horse, it could go blind. But why worry about that in the moment? We could worry about a million things. How about count on things going right? How about expect them going right? And then if they don't, then we can address that. But when you speak it into existence, worried all the time, then you're counting on that. And that's really a lack of faith. The first thing that you should have is faith. Faith that something is possible. If you don't have that, you're not going to succeed. And if you do, by the luck of God, then by the grace of God, really, because if you have no belief and you're succeeding, you are sincerely blessed. But it may be taken away because you lack that belief that everything will be okay. I mean, no matter what is going on in your life, believe that it'll be okay. Even if you're really sick, it's going to be okay. Because if you believe the opposite, it just makes you sicker. What good is that? And that's what President Trump is talking about here. It's all okay. We're okay. But the truth is, we're going to be better than okay. Let's watch.
You say some people on Wall Street say, well, I tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history. Why don't you talk about them? Because some people on Wall Street say this is the greatest thing.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, though. It's the same question.
Yeah, there are many people on Wall Street say this is going to be the greatest windfall ever happened.
And that's my question.
Remember
the
this.
Long term. Yeah. Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, yeah, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically. One of your colleagues on another fake news station, ABC, said, do you guarantee 100% that a certain person is going to do a fantastic job as, let's say, Secretary of Defense? Okay, because that was the question. I said, what kind of a question is that? Do I guarantee 100%? Nobody guarantees 100%. But I will say this. I think we're going to have an economy the likes of which we've never had before.
That is exactly right. Yes, his first 4 years were phenomenal. Nobody can argue that, really. So many people were doing wonderfully. My business was doing exceptional. And then the past 4 years, it was really hard. It was very hard under the Biden administration. And I'm speaking for myself and my own small business. It was very hard. It was very hard on the clients that I have who even support and love Biden. And that's what was so mind-bending to me. I'm like, why are you voting for this? Don't you see this? But so many people, unfortunately, in my opinion, have been brainwashed into thinking that the lies about President Trump are true. And many people, obviously, because he won, who were like, wait, let me just listen to him for myself. And then they started hearing the truth and they voted for Trump. Some of the people who voted blue, no matter who, for their whole life, voted for Trump this election because their eyes were open, because they actually heard for themselves, because they didn't just listen to the mainstream media spin and all of the negative rhetoric. I mean, lie after lie after lie. It's all fear-based, and it's just simply not true. Mr. Trump inspires because he's focused on the positive and he gets positive results. If they ever reported on that, I would have at least a little bit of respect for them, but they never do. He could literally cure cancer and they would spin it to be negative. Why didn't he cure it yesterday? They would blame him for all the people who he didn't cure, hundreds of years ago when he wasn't even alive. I mean, it's just insanity.
Nominal, as you know, the stock market. In fact, even though we had to go through the COVID thing, that horrible situation with COVID, we did numbers. And when I gave it over, when I handed it over, the election was rigged. And because of that, we have a lot of problems, by the way. But when I handed it over, what happened? The market was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. Yeah. Nobody could believe it. The stock market I'm talking about.
Don't want to look back, but you did.
I don't want to look back. I don't want to look back now when it was really positive. See, we're talking about something positive, so she doesn't want to look back. She only wants to look back if it's something negative. I mean, it's just unbelievable how they spin absolutely everything. And many of me and my friends who are also business owners were like, why are we feeling the effects of COVID in 2021? Why in 2019 were things like okay? Why was I like okay and moving forward and my business still growing? But in 2021, 2022, 2023, everything started like screeching to a halt. Well, that's because they were rolling out all this hate, division, and the Biden administration. I mean, crime running rampant. People don't want to buy. People are scared. I mean, it was horrible. Groceries were expensive, but of course they don't talk about that. They expected him to magically change everything on day one. And again, they don't understand nuance. He said on day one, he's going to implement these things. If anybody has common sense, they understand you can't just wave a magic wand. On day one, he will implement the things, and he did. In the past 100 days, well, now more, right? He has done more than any president in history. But do we hear that from the mainstream media? Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Did take your case to court about that.
Back.
You took your case to court about your allegations against the election. Let me ask you,
There's
sir.
no question about it. The election was rigged. The facts are in, and it's still being litigated. Let's go.
You did take your case to court more than 60 times and didn't win those cases.
That was hilarious. I just love that for some reason. He's like, okay, the election was rigged. Okay, the facts are in. Let's go. Let's go. What you got for me? What you got for me? I'm strong. I'm strong and still dignified, respectful, and polite. This man is a powerhouse. And then it's hilarious because I don't know, have you seen Rosie O'Donnell lately? She's talking about this guy is in a mental decline. He can't put a sentence together. Oh, Rosie, you are a card. I mean, what planet is Rosie O'Donnell on right now? I mean, really? She thought Biden was completely put together, completely there. And Mr. President Trump, who's done more than any president in history and has had 72 press meetings, I believe, 72 live media events since he's been president in 100 days, never mind all the other things that he's been up to. You can't, I mean, a 20-year-old would be hard to keep up with that pace. Would have a hard time keeping up with that pace or making a sentence, right? Like me, as I'm 20. You knew that, right?
Won a lot of court cases.
Just to button that up, though, sir. Just to button that up.
What are you talking about?
How
the election
worried are you?
Are we talking about the election?
Let's talk about here and now. Let's talk about
the
here and now.
election of 2020?
Let's not talk about. Let's talk about here and now. Are you worried about a recession?
No.
Okay.
No. I think we're going to have the greatest.
What a waste of time to worry about a recession. See, this is where they just go, I mean, it's like you could worry about getting hit by a car today. I mean, anything can happen, but worry is an absolute waste of time. And any strong leader, strong business person knows that that's absolute waste.
Worried it could happen. Do you think it could happen?
Anything can happen. But I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to have the greatest economic boom in history.
He knows that anything can happen at any time. That's why every day is a gift. Every day you move forward, and every day you take what you have to build. And that's exactly what he's doing for the United States of America. And we are so blessed to have him. He doesn't sit there twiddling his thumbs, worrying, sitting in fear about everything. No, he looks for solutions. He looks for how can we do this? How can we make America great again? How can we bring business back to America? How can we make it safe and healthy and happy and prosperous? Let's look to the solution. Yes, you have to address the problem, but he's so focused on solutions, he doesn't have time to worry. If you're focused on worry, you're stuck in the problem. You have not yet bridged over to the solution. And the quicker you get to a solution, the better.
And not only will, look at what's happened. In 2 months, we're close to $9 trillion of investment. We've never been anywhere near that.
Say to Jeff Bezos.
He's just a very nice guy. We have a relationship. I asked him about it. He said, well, I don't want to do that. And he took it off immediately.
So he changed course. And will you take that same tactic with other CEOs if you
I'll
feel
always
like
call people if I disagree with them. If I think that somebody's doing something that's incorrect, wrong, or maybe hurtful to the country, I'll call. Absolutely. Wouldn't you want me to call?
Yes, see, and that's the thing. Mr. Trump is not scared to talk to anybody. He's a master negotiator. And again, that's something that the mainstream media until recently has just like not done. They're like, oh, don't talk to Mr. President Trump. Don't listen to him. They would tell their base not to listen to him or engage with him. That is no way to get to a solution, even if you disagree, especially if you disagree with somebody. You should have a discussion. If you're just in your echo chambers, nothing can get done. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous to think that that's how things are accomplished. And then the fact that Congress hasn't even been passing new bills of legislation. I mean, it's like, what are you guys doing? You're just hating on Trump. What is going on? Jasmine Crockett is so funny too. I'm going to watch this clip in just a minute because I'm going to show you what he talks about Crockett.
Biden wouldn't call because he didn't know what was happening, but I do.
So since Trump has been in office, only 100 plus days, we have the strongest border in the United States history. Again, everyone should be celebrating that. That helps everybody. That helps all the immigrants who came here legally. That helps everyone. Everyone should be for that. Everyone should be celebrating that. That is a huge accomplishment. Everything he's done has been tremendous and unprecedented. The fact that we have a strong border, the strongest, the fact that trillions of dollars are pouring in, the fact that we've uncovered through DOJ all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, there is so much good that this man has done. But a lot of people, unfortunately, aren't seeing through the smoke and mirrors that the left has created about the facade, the caricature of this bad man orange that they have created, that narrative. But the people who've seen through it know that this country is already doing better because we have a strong leader. We have a strong, strong leader. Now, they're going to talk about, is he going to run again? Everyone's all scared. Oh, the people that hate Mr. Trump. Oh my gosh, he's going to be a dictator for the rest of our life, and he's trying to own everything. No. He even says he wants a two-party system. He likes the two-party system, and it's a bit of a troll with the 2028 Trump hats. I mean, it's hilarious. But this is called capitalism, and capitalism is a good thing. Capitalism, even the people like AOC who say they hate capitalism actually love capitalism, because I understand she makes a lot of money off those t-shirts that say eat the rich. Mr. Wonderful talked about that. She makes like 82% profit on that. That's called capitalism, AOC. Capitalism is a good thing in the United States of America, okay? And a lot of Democrats who hate Mr. Trump actually have gotten very rich off of capitalism. A lot of Democrats who've gotten very rich off of the United States have actually cheated because, I don't know, they're, like Nancy Pelosi and doing insider trading and stuff. And that's not good. That's not capitalism. But they're rich and they're liars. So, what can you say? Mr. Trump is very, very transparent. I mean, he's been investigated more. He said this many times in his rallies, more than Al Capone. And he's president. And now the left that hate him will say, well, that's what we're saying, is that he's president and he's worse than Al Capone. No, you miss the mark. There's no getting through to some people, unfortunately.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution? Or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had requests so strong as that, but it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it or anything else, but there are many people selling the 2028 hat. But this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, a great Republican, to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular.
The Constitution does prohibit it. Some of your allies are pretty.
So this is what they're going to say. I'm sure they're already saying it all over mainstream media today. The View is going to go, he doesn't even know that it's unconstitutional. He can't run. He can't run again. He doesn't even understand the Constitution. And these are a lot of people who've actually never read the Constitution, but it's hilarious. It's like one of the biggest trolls I've ever seen. I love it. I think it's funny because it just gets them spinning out. I think it does a number of things on Trump's behalf because it gets people let's focus on right now. Let's focus on right now. Yes, looking forward, but like he said, he's focused on these 4 years. And listen what he has to say.
Serious about this, though, Mr. President. I've spoken to them. They say they are coming up with potential ways.
Well,
Obviously, the biggest one would be a
because-
constitutional amendment.
That's because they like the job I'm doing, and it's a compliment. It's really a great compliment.
Has anyone approached you, though, with actual plan and a way to actually start the process?
Well, there are ways of doing it, and you know the same thing. And if you look at the vice presidential thing, and you hear different concepts and different other people say you can have a write-in vote. There's lots of different things. With all of that being said, I want to be a great president. I will have served. Hopefully, everything will go well. I feel very good. I just did a physical. I took, unlike all other presidents, I took cognitive tests and I aced it. I got 100% correct. And one doctor said, there were numerous doctors watching. He said, I've never seen that before. Biden didn't take a cognitive. He couldn't have gotten the first question right. But I came out great with.
And did you hear her? Like, she's sad. Too bad. We can't keep running with the fact that he's slipping if he got 100% correct on the cognitive test. I mean, it's just so they just love negativity. It's so funny how I already can see all the smirking faces on NBC and MSDNC and all the ones constantly negative news. I can just already feel the smirk and Joy Reid going crazy. And oh gosh, he passed that.
With the physical, both physically and mentally. And I just want to do a great job. I'll be an 8-year president. I'll be a 2-term president. I always thought that was very important, to be honest with you. You know, if you look at President Polk, he was a 1-termer and he did some great things, actually. Pretty good president. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but there's something about being a 2-term president that was very important to me.
And just to put a button on it, has anyone in an official capacity presented you with, sir, here are some ideas by which you could actually get a constitutional amendment?
Well, in a capacity of being a big supporter, many people have said different things, but
okay.
I think she wants him. I think she wants him to go for another 4 years. Maybe that's why she keeps pressing this issue.
I'm not looking at that.
You haven't had official meetings about it?
No. And just so you said, 4 years is a long time. I have almost 4 years. All of these things that we've done more than any president, and even you might admit that. Nobody's done the extent of the things that we've done. Nobody's done this in essentially a little bit more than 3 months. As they say, 100 days. I'm looking to do a great job as president and set the country on the right track, because if I didn't win, this country would have failed. We would have been a failed nation.
You have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party.
Industry.
It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA. Make America great again.
When you look to the future, Mr. President, do you think the MAGA movement can survive without you as its leader?
Yes, I do.
What gives you
I think it's so strong, and I think we have tremendous people. I think we have a tremendous group of people. We talked about a number of them. You look at Marco, you look at J.D. Vance, who's fantastic. I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now just sitting here. No, I think we have a tremendous party. And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding. I don't know what they're going to do. And I really believe in a 2-party system. Because it's good to be challenged. It's really good to have a 2-party. It's good. Being challenged is okay. It keeps you sharp. I don't know what they're going to do. They have nobody. Bernie's 87 years old or something. And Biden is the worst thing that ever happened to old people, because he was grossly incompetent. And I think maybe for artificial reasons, he had operations and things. So maybe that's an artificial. But I know people that are unbelievably sharp, and they're older than 87. But I watch Bernie Sanders. He's a nut job, but he's still sharp. He's sharp as he's the same guy he was. He hasn't gone down. But Biden is he's the worst thing to happen to old people.
I know that.
That is hilarious. He's the worst thing that happened to old people. I think that's true, because then a lot of young people think all old people are just which way? Where are we? Oh, what's the exit? I mean, come on. And the fact that Jen Psaki and all these people are saying there's no cover up. Jen Psaki just did an interview saying that she never noticed anything ever and that she was with him every single day. Jen, come on. I mean, that's just laughable. That is just absolutely laughable. Anybody with eyes could see that President Biden wasn't doing well. And it wasn't just recently. It was the last 4 years. He was not doing well at all. So the fact that they try to act like he was doing wonderful is just absolutely insane.
That you are only 100 days in. But as we sit here today, who do you see as your successor, Mr. President?
Well, it's far too early to say that. But, I do have a vice president, and typically it would be, and JD's doing a fantastic job.
He would be at the top of the list?
It could very well be. I don't want to get involved in that. I think he's a fantastic, brilliant guy. Marco is great. There's a lot of them that are great. I also see tremendous unity, but certainly you would say that somebody's the VP. If that person is outstanding, I guess that person would have an advantage. But I think the other people would all stay in unbelievably high positions. But, it could be that he'd be challenged by somebody. We have a lot of good people in this party.
He just wants him to speak in absolutes, and he just won't. And now, of course, today, I'm sure it's going to be all over mainstream legacy media, spinning it. He wouldn't even endorse J.D. Vance. I think he's regretting having J.D. Vance, and that's not what he said. Mr. Trump is very smart. He does not speak in absolutes. He's a real leader, a real businessman, and I am so happy that we have him. Prayers for Mr. President Donald Trump and his entire team. Prayers for the United States of America. If you found value out of this video, please do subscribe. It helps this channel. It helps all of us because we're in this together. We truly are. Let's make America great again. But the Democrats right now really don't have any leadership. Unfortunately, they have a lot of people screaming. They have a lot of people swearing and dancing and making silly TikToks, but they don't have a leader. Even Stephen A. Smith has said that. Even Bill Maher has said that. These are people who are Democrats, and they have not liked President Trump, at least in the past. Stephen A. Smith says that he could win, but not because he's the most qualified. He could win by default. If you want to watch Bill Maher snap back at The View, because they also like to spin things and spin words and say things that aren't true. If you want to see Bill Maher clap back at him, who do you think is going to run for the Democrats? Is Bill Maher going to run? That would be funny. Watch Bill Maher right now.